Okay, so let's officially start the session. Yes, Nikhil, you want to say something?
Tell you,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, till you wait maybe for 1 minute. I'm very interested to know if you are okay to share at this stage. What's your motivation to take workshop on this area? Because I'm glad somebody is doing it. People
Yeah,
typically don't do workshops in this area, and that's why I wanted to know and attend as well.
definitely. That's an interesting question, and definitely in the course of the workshop, I will definitely answer Nikhil. Thank you for raising that question. Okay, so let's wait for 1 minute and then we'll start. So in the meantime, you can tell me your expectations that what do you intend to learn from this 3 days workshop? You can share your inputs.
Personally, actually, I did my PhD last year. I completed and I used mixed methods. One of them being experimental design, and I want to continue research in the field of mindfulness, especially Vipassana. So basically, the idea in my mind is that how can you have strong experimental design used to assess its impact over a period of time. And the challenge that I see is that when you set somebody for a 10-day course where you are meditating 700 hours, you can't do randomization as well. So maybe we'll have to do quasi experimental design, etc. So given I got inspired by a brochure and I shared my expectations. So I'm an open book here, but would love to know that. And sometimes you don't have the effect size estimate. So how do you do sample size estimation also and some other things? Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting area that you have mentioned. Okay, anybody else? Sunanjita, Mansi, Raghav, Dr. Sunita, Hardeep, Sushil Kumar. Any expectation from your side? Then let's begin.
Sir, actually, I'm new to the field of experimental research. I did my PhD 2 years back. This field has always interested me, but I've not been able to work on it much. So I'm expecting to learn this new technique and maybe implement it in my research.
Okay, okay, great, Mansi. Great, keep it up. Yes. Anybody else? One or two, then we'll start. The time is up and we'll start. Yeah. Anybody else? Okay, so I presume that there are no questions, and the questions will be coming later on. So let me begin. Let me share my screen and begin. By the way, this is a very open kind of session. You can ask me questions at every point in time. I would be happy to address it. Yes, there is no wrong question, and if possible, I answer today. If not possible, I'll get back to you. Yeah, okay. So I hope the screen is visible to you. Yes, say yes or no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, and I hope that you've started the recording.
yeah. I've started the recording. It's my OBS
Thanks.
studio. Yeah, okay. So
Yeah. Okay.
so this is the workshop agenda. Let's discuss and let us set the tone into context for the 3 days. So today is day one, April 26, and we are going to see all the nitty-gritties or all the nuances in carrying out experimental research. Yeah. So I have couple of slides for you, and I have written all the points which are essential if you intend to do a research using experimental methods. Then second, we'll focus on the experimental research designs. So there are typical experimental research designs where you try to bring certain interventions in your in the experimental group. So there is one factor design and two factor designs, which are very popular in social sciences, and not only in social sciences but in the other social in other industrial settings also. This factorial designs are very popular. So I want to address this. And 9:15 to 9:30 again we'll leave the session for question and answers. Okay. So today is a very important day where we'll talk all the nitty gritties about experiment. Day two, I have taken two classic experiments. Yes, and one is transmigration of aggression through imitative of aggressive models. So Albert Bandura in 1960s he conducted series of experiments. So he has written one seminal paper, and which is an ideal paper which will guide you how to carry on your experimental research. So that paper I will be showing you, and it is also being shared with you. You can definitely have a look at it. And second, there is one paper which is published in A category journal, Journal of Experimental Research and Economics. So again, this is a paper which is from marketing domain, and I will be covering this particular paper, and we will see the entire experimental research design which the authors have followed. And again, we'll leave the forum for question and answers. And last day we will be going to see, we are going to see R and R Studio again, which are open source software. And by the way, R and R Studio has lot of inbuilt data set into it. So if you use R, you'll come across plant growth data, you'll come across tooth growth data, you will come across chick weight data. So there are inbuilt data sets in R which you can use these datas in order to do your practice and all. Okay, so here you will focus on the parametric and the non-parametric tests which are applicable in order to analyze the data or the test the hypothesis in experimental research. We'll focus on correlation and regression. Again, in correlation, we'll focus on bivariate correlations, and regression will focus on simple, multiple, and logistic regression, which is also called as logic model. And lastly, we'll have the question and answer sessions. So the third day will be focused only for data analysis. I conduct a lot of workshops throughout the year through various forums, sometimes online and sometimes offline. So I see most of the research scholars are obsessed with only the analytics part. But what goes before the analytics is more important. There are a lot many softwares available. Yes, you can put your data and automatically analysis would happen by simply by drag and drop option, or by simply click of the button. Analysis is not a big deal. What goes before the analysis is something very, very important. And as far as experimental research is concerned, the design has to be up to the mark, because when reviewers, when they will go through your paper, they will have a number of questions related to design. So if design of experiment is not systematic or it's not planned, then it will leave lot many questions open and the paper might get rejected. Now, Nikhil asked me a very interesting question. What was your motivation to carry on experimental research? First of all, let me tell you that I am a quantitative researcher, and I have a YouTube channel, Fuller Lives, where you can find all my recorded videos and all the sessions that I've taken in so many years. And I have a quantitative research. So while learning quantitative research, I realized that experiments is one research which is a part of a quantitative research, and where you can generate your own data by simply looking at observations or by looking at people's behavior or bringing some interventions. So experiment research is something very fabulous. So I also happen to learn statistics with some of the brightest minds in the country, and people who are consulting statisticians, and they are hardcore experimenters. So while interacting with them, while talking with them, by the way, they are from the field of pure sciences. So I said there is a big scope of applying experiment or the quantitative research methods in social sciences. So there was a lot of interest on my part to explore this particular arena. And once I developed confidence, I said, okay, let me share my knowledge to lot many research scholars, and let me ensure that how people benefit out of it. Okay, so let me start sharing it. So you can ask me any questions wherever possible, and if possible, I'll happy to address all your
So just
questions.
before you start,
Yeah,
I have having seen the agenda, I just wanted to check on the last day.
yeah,
Other than correlation regression, I think a lot of ANOVA, MANOVA,
yeah,
etc. is
definitely,
used,
sir.
no, in
Yeah, yeah,
experimental
yeah,
design. So I
sir.
hope that he will.
Definitely, sir. In fact, when you talk about
Please
ANOVA,
call
ANOVA
us
itself,
Nikhil. You are our sir.
ANOVA,
Yeah.
ANCOVA, these are all parametric tests,
Yeah.
sir, and will definitely cover.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So let's talk about introduction to experiments in social science. Let me give you a brief background. My name is Arun. My name is very Arun Kumar Dubey, but I go by Arun, and I'm a PhD from Pondicherry Central University. For past 15 years, I was into academics. I started my career with Somaya Vidyar University. I was teaching in a college. Then later on, I moved to Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. Then I realized that okay, I need to take a break and be a part of a gig economy and more work as a freelancer. So to earn my bread and butter, so I started consulting as a statistician and helping research scholars throughout the country in order to do good research and help them. So just a brief background about me and being into academics for more than 50 years as of now. Yeah, okay. So I founded this startup, which is Datamatics Research Solutions, and I help research scholars by consulting them by different means and helping them publish wonderful papers and do the statistical analysis per se. That is basically my forte, doing all the analysis part. So just a brief background about me. I live in Mumbai, yes, and this is how I present myself. Okay, so let's begin. Let's begin. Okay, so I would request all of you to get this book and please read it about the history of statistics, how statistics evolved that we are using today. By the way, the statistics that evolved in the 20th century, that is, let's say 1910s or 1920s, the statistics remains the same. The statistics remains the same. So this is a classic book which is written by David Salzberg, and it's about the lady tasting tea. And by the way, this title, The Lady Testing Tea, is borrowed from R.A. Fisher's book Design of Experiments, which was published in 1935. Now, father of statistics is Sir R.A. Fisher, and he has written a book which is known as Design of Experiments. And this is a very famous book if you want to learn design of experiments, by Professor R.A. Fisher, who happens to be the father of statistics. And in his book, R.A. Fisher gives an example of the lady testing tea, and he talks about experiments and how an experiment was done in a party, and the lady was able to detect whether the tea was from milk, or the tea was from different genre. So let's have a look at it, what this experiment is all about. So just a food for thought. So at a summer party in Cambridge, England, so there was a lady guest, and she says that she can perfectly make out whether in the cup the tea was poured first or the milk was poured first. Now, whenever a tea is made in those countries, so either people will pour the brewed tea and then they will put the milk, or first they will put the milk and then they will put the tea. So the lady made a claim that whether tea is poured first or whether milk is poured first, by simply sipping it, I can make it out whether which was poured first and which was poured second. So the lady made a very tall claim. Now, when somebody makes a claim, the claim has to be tested. So here, and coincidentally in that party, R.A. Fisher was there. So he designed an experiment. So the lady was very confident, I can surely make it out whether tea was poured in the cup first or whether uh, uh, milk was poured in the cup first. So there was a lot of curiosity happen, and Sir R.A. Fisher happened to be there in that party. So Fisher designed an experiment, and this experiment he has talked about in his famous book Design of Experiments, 1935. Please get that book. So Fisher presented the lady with 8 cups of tea. So 4 cups were prepared according to her preference, milk first, and the other 4 were prepared the opposite way. So 8 cups were prepared. So in the first 4 cup, tea was poured first, and in the second 4 cup, milk was poured first. So 8 cups were prepared, and they were arranged randomly. They were arranged randomly. So the null hypothesis, by the way, the genesis of null hypothesis came from this experiment. So the null hypothesis was that the lady has no real ability to distinguish between the tea. Means if you give that tea in different random orders for that lady to taste it, she will have no ability to detect whether milk was poured first or tea was poured first. So randomly it was tried. So there came the idea of null hypothesis. By the way, before that there was no concept for null hypothesis. It came from the design of experiments, and Sir R.A. Fisher is popular in giving this null hypothesis. So okay, so he arranged this 8 comes in different random orders. So 8 factorial divided by 4 factorial, 8 minus 4 factorial. So these are 70 combinations he designed. So there are 70 combinations that came out using that 4 cup which had milk, and 4 cup which had tea. Yes, and out of 70 combinations, Fisher guessed that out of 70 times, the lady will be successful only in one time. So 1 in 70 times, the lady will be successful. Means 69 times she won't be able to make it out. So this experiment was designed in a very random way. By the way, randomization is one of the characteristics of experiments. So even if you read standard paper, randomization is something which is very, very important in a experimental research design. So when Fisher, he created different random groups for milk, for tea, and in different random orders. He was of this conclusion that this lady won't be able to make it out whether tea was poured first in the cup or milk was poured first in the cup. Interestingly, the lady, she was very clever, and simply by sipping the tea, she was able to make it out whether tea was poured first or milk was poured first. She was successful. So the null hypothesis got rejected, and the alternative hypothesis is that the lady has some real ability to distinguish between the teas. So this famous experiment goes, and it's written in that particular book, The Lady Testing Tea. So all research scholars who want to learn randomization in experimental design should definitely read this book, The Lady Tasting Tea. And in this book you'll find statistics is written in a very interesting way, relating with real life examples. And when you read this book, The Lady Tasting Tea, you will understand that what statistics is all about, how randomization has to be created, how variation is important, and there are so many other issues in statistics which are presented in a story way. So I would strongly recommend all research scholars to read this book, The Lady Testing Tea, and this example is borrowed from that particular book, and that is how the design of experiments came into being. Okay, so let me proceed slightly further. Yeah, okay. So any guesses who are they? By the way, their names are written. Hello, can I talk to you? Can I talk to you? Hello, am I audible? By the way, hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. So in 2019, Abhijit Banerjee, his wife Esther Duflo, and Michael Kremer. So these three people, these three professors, uh, they got a Nobel Prize in economics. So if you read their work, it is purely on randomized controlled trials, and they have done a lot of field experiments, particularly on issues of poverty. And not only on issues of poverty, they have advised not many governments on various policy interventions, that how poverty can be alleviated. And they have shaped people's understanding or policymakers understanding on issue of poverty. So they have redefined poverty in a very different way with their experiments. So in 2019, when they got this Nobel Prize in economics, and and being an economist myself in my formative years, I'm no longer an economist right now because I've changed my track. And Nikhil asked me a question, that what excited you to conduct this workshop on experimental research in social science. So when 2019, Abhijit Banerjee happened to be a person from Indian origin, and he regularly writes columns in Times of India. So particularly from his experiences. So from 2019, I was very much interested that what is randomized controlled trial. And by the way, in 2019, I was pursuing PhD from Pondicherry University. So I was very much interested what these experiments will all about. So at that time, there were lot many writings were reported in the mainstream newspaper. So I used to read it what this randomized controls were. So from there, my interest got ignited. Yes, that experimental method can be designed, and lot many interventions, their efficacy can be tested. So in fact, their work, particularly Banerjee, Duflo, and Kremer, they have done lot many work in Asia and Africa and so many other developing economies or underdeveloped economies, and they have done a commendable job. So if you can read some of their write-ups, so that will be quite fascinating for you. By the way, Banerjee and Duflo, husband and wife, they have also written a book called Poor Economics. They have written lot many books, but there is one book called Poor Economics where they talk about their randomized controlled trials. By the way, randomized controlled trial is basically a field experiment, and this is not the intention of this particular workshop. This workshop is designed to give you an overview of experimental research, and later on you taking up experiment in your research. But before I proceed, let me tell you an interesting fact which will address you most of your questions, which my professor from IIM Ahmedabad, Professor Vishal Gupta, always cites in his workshops. So as far as I'll give there is one story from Mahabharata, and there is one person called Eklavya. So we all know this character Eklavya, and he was never taught a formal archery, the art of shooting arrows from bow. He was never taught. He learnt on his own. So once Dronacharya discovered that, how did you manage to learn archery without me teaching? So he replied, it was through devotion. So he was living in forest, and Dronacharya, he never admitted students who were not from a particular dynasty. So he said, I created a statue of yours, and I worshipped that, and that worship, that devotion gave me the necessary strength, and I became an excellent archer. So he became an archer, so excellent that even Arjun or Karan could not defeat him. He was so excellent archer. So now my professor always tells me that if you want to do experiment research, yes, see to it that you read good quality research papers. Make good quality research papers uh, as Dronacharya. See that you get inspired by good quality research papers. Read those papers that how authors have conceptualized a particular idea and how they have designed an experiment around that particular idea. By the way, let me tell you all A category paper, B category paper, and A star paper and papers in FT50. You'll find abundance of experiments which are reported. Again, let me slightly drift. So there is a cross-sectional research, there is a longitudinal research, and there is a experimental research. So cross-sectional research of late, not many people. There are people who take it, and there are places where cross-sectional research is published. I'm not criticizing cross-sectional research, but in the sense that if you do a cross-sectional research and then you bring the experimental research, and then you triangulate your findings. Okay, cross-sectional research is saying this, and experimental research is supporting this, or experimental research is saying this, and longitudinal research is supporting this, then your paper carries some weight. People find it very, very interesting. By the way, whenever you read papers from, particularly from FT50 or for that matter A star, there you find that people use lot many mixed methods and they triangulate their findings. So they support their findings from one study by doing some another study by different method, and they support their findings. So when you have an experimental research, automatically you ignite the curiosity of the reviewer as well as the readers, and they find it too exciting to read. Okay, let me see how this experiment is planned. So I would strongly request all of you to read couple of papers or couple of books which are written by these Nobel laureates and who have got Nobel Prize in economics, and they have done a standard job as far as field experiments are concerned or as far as field trials are concerned. I hope we are on the same page. Hello, we are on the same page. Hello.
Yes, it is going very well. Only one quick question. I think you have put some in reading material, but it would be good if you can share some good A star and FT50
See,
papers also.
by the way, sir, I have starred, I have shared three A category paper and one A star paper.
Okay.
So if you look at it,
Okay.
it will make
ठीक है.
sense. So let me go through
Sure. Great.
the reading material that has been shared with you. By the way, I should have discussed this before. So there are a lot many thoughts which are going in my mind, and sometimes it becomes very difficult to slice.
Appreciate.
So these are the books. So this is the classic book, Research Scholars. So this is book Discovering Statistics Using SPSS. So this is a classic book by Professor Andy Field. And by the way, Professor Andy Field has also written a book Discovering Statistics Using R. And he writes statistics in a very humorous way that even if you are fond of reading, you will definitely understand it. So Professor Andy Field books, and in his book he talks about how to analyze experimental data. He talks about analyzing the experimental data. So this book has snippets where you can find that how experimental data is analyzed using ANOVA, UNCOVA, and there are so many other parametric and non-parametric tests, including regression. So that chapter is there. You can definitely read it. So this book I have shared with you. You can definitely read it. Then this is a second book, Laboratory Experiments in Social Sciences. So by the way, experiments of pure science, particularly chemistry, they used to be done in laboratory. Now, when I say laboratory, the environment is highly controlled over there. Laboratory is a fixed place where people go, people sit there, and people do all the experiments in a controlled environment. Okay, so can you do a social science experiment in a controlled environment? Yes, precisely, you can definitely do it. But experiments in social sciences have lot many issues, particularly with respect to measurements. That's why on day 2 I have taken two seminal papers, and both are classic papers. One paper is a seminal paper by Albert Bandura, and second paper is a paper which is published in A category journal. So both are decent paper. So whenever all the research scholars who are interested in doing experiment research, please see to it that you read good quality papers, because good quality papers will talk about all the issues that Nikhil have raised. They talk about sampling, they talk about randomization, they talk about checking. To some papers do talk about common method biases and all those things. So read standard papers and see exactly how what kind of methodology they have followed, and accordingly design your research the way it is being reported in standard journal. So I'll show you a couple of papers that will be a good food for thought for you. Yes. And this is the classic book which I would suggest all of you to read it. Just a second, it will open up. So if you can't see here, you can see in my personal folder. So there is a book, and here is the book. Just a second. So yeah, just a second. So by the way, is it open? No, it's not opening. So it will take some time to open. So this is a book by G.E.P. Box. Now G.E.P. Box happens to be the son-in-law of R.A. Fisher. Now, again, my computer is slightly angry with me. Yeah, okay. So statistics for experimenters, design, innovation, and discovery. So first edition came in 1978 and second edition came in 2005. There are no later editions in my little understanding. So you should definitely read this book. And this book is designed not from social science perspective, but from uh, industrial engineering perspective, or for that matter, science perspective. But this book will give you a good food for thought if you go through this book. And this book I have shared with you. So George E.P. Box is also known as G.E.P. Box, his experiments. So read this book; it will be a good food for thought. By the way, research scholars and faculties, they should read as many books as possible, so that, or as many write-ups, so that they are far ahead of their times. Okay. So yeah, okay. So coming to this, let's focus on the other material. Data. I have shared one stupid data with you. One stupid data. Again, this data is borrowed from GEP Box. Nothing to do with social science. But yes, experiments, the analysis in social science and analysis in pure science, there is no difference. Yes, only in social science you are measuring constructs, or you are bringing certain interventions which are qualitative in nature, but again you attach number. So analysis remains the same. Analysis remains the same. So I have shared one stupid data. By the way, R has lot many inbuilt data set into it. So when we will be using R on the third day, I will give you hands-on practice on how to use data which is there in the memory of the R. So only one data I have shared. So reading material, again, I found one R syntax on the web. I uploaded it. By the way, this directory is open. If you find some interesting material, please go ahead and upload it for the benefit of the research community. Be as altruistic as possible. And lastly, here in the research paper section, you'll find good quality papers. Yeah, okay. So this is the first paper, and developing psychological capital and EI in higher education. Again, this is a decent journal. I have not checked the category of the journal, but in my understanding, it must be either B or A, but not lesser than that. So the International Journal of Management Education. But if you go through this paper, one of my friend, Dr. Sunita, is there. She's from Delhi University. So she wants to do lot many research, particularly in the education context. So this paper will be a good food for thought. And again, all professors who are in this particular workshop, who are interested in doing experiment research, you all should definitely read this paper, and you can plan experiments with your students in class, a quasi experiments. So we'll come to it. What is a quasi experiments, which is a semi experiment? We'll come to it. But this is a wonderful paper. So in your classroom, you can treat your students as subjects, and you can plan an experiments, and you can, if you're good in write up, if you're good in theory building and analysis part, again, I don't attach too much importance to the analysis part. To me, what is more important is theory building, and the planning of the experiments. So definitely experiments can be planned in a classroom settings. Even Nikhil is a professor in KJ Somaya. Again, definitely with his MBA students, he can plan quasi experiments. Definitely. So this is one paper. Second, again, this is the paper, the Leadership Quarterly. Again, a category paper or A star paper. Feedback, quality, and performance in organizations. Again, decent paper. So papers I have shared of top rankings. So again, yes. So if you look at the brochure or the flyer that I circulated, so this flyer talks about female choice selects for extreme tail length in widow bird. So this is an experiment which is conducted in natural environment on birds. Yes. So and this is written by Professor Malte Anderson, and here he has conducted experiments on birds. Seminal paper, awesome paper. Not much statistics involved into it. A simple ANOVA sufficient, but a classic paper. Classic paper. So we'll discuss in my slide. I have some information about this particular paper. Then again, A category paper, Journal of Behavioral and Experimental Economics, paper from marketing domain. I think couple of people are from IIT Roorkee, and so IIT Roorkee people, they are very good in doing quantitative research per se, and particularly some of them might be interested in doing research in marketing. So you all should definitely read this paper, how research or an experiment research can be planned in a marketing domain. So wonderful paper. Again, this experiment is conducted entirely online. We might not have that expertise, or for that matter we might not have that much of resource and times. Our institute might not support us to go to field and spend days in and days out and conduct randomized control trials or field experiments, but experiments can be conducted in a virtual setting also. So let's say wherever 30 people are there you can plan an experiments. So divide people into 15 groups, 15 15, and do your experiment. So this is a wonderful paper. Without going to field or without stepping out of your office, can you do an experimental research? The answer is yes, and you can publish in top-notch journals, A category journal. It's a wonderful paper. This paper I'm going to discuss tomorrow in the second part of the session. Classic paper. Classic paper. This paper was discussed in uh, uh, Academy of Management conference. By the way, academy conferences which happen in US are the most celebrated conferences, and you should definitely attend at least one Academy of Management conference which happen in US. It is very good for your CV, particularly people who want to become professors in IIMs and IITs. It's very important that you should publish your paper in Academy of Management. So it's an annual conference which happened in US. So this paper was discussed there, and it was discussed as and it was awarded as one of the best papers. So this paper is written by a single person, and this paper, it is published in Administrative Science Quarterly, which happens to be A star journal. A star, and uh, it might be in FT50, but I have not checked it. But check it. It's a wonderful paper, and here the author has used multiple research method using ethnography, experimental survey data, multiple things. Classic paper. You should definitely read this paper, The Artisan and His Audience. Wonderful paper. Again, wonderful. Again, this is a paper. Uh, yes, okay. So this is a paper by Albert Bandura, again, which we are going to discuss. So I have shared a couple of wonderful papers. I request all research scholars to go through it. Yes, okay. So now let me come to my slides.
Thank you. This is wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So read all these papers. These are all quality papers, and I don't have any library with me. So I'm a freelancer. So whenever I need some papers, I write to my friends and they send me. So while I was conducting this workshop, I was planning to conduct this workshop. It's a very different workshop. So far, I was doing all workshops on quantitative methods only. So I said I was learning experimental research. So I said, let me share my knowledge with lot many research scholars and let me benefit some of them. Okay. One advice I would give to all research scholars, that whenever you are intending to design an experiment, uh, read standard papers where people have really done wonderful experiments, and see how they have planned their experiments and how they have come with their idea. So that will be one good food for thought for you if you are intending to do an experimental research in times to come. By the way, if you take experiment research, you will be taken very seriously. Let me tell you. And you go to any top-notch institutes of India, particularly, I'm not talking about IITs and IIMs. There people are well versed with experimental research, and some people are into experimental research. But coming to tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4 institutions, not many people are into experimental research. Though people do, I'm not saying that there are people who do it. But if you start following this line of thought or following this method of research, it will really it will really help you carve out a name in your social circles. And if one or two papers, if you can publish in International Journal of Experimental Research and Economics, then people will take you very very seriously, because you are an experimenter. You know how to plan things, and you know how to put things into perspective. Yeah. Okay. So papers I have shared which are best of the papers, and you should definitely read it. And by the way, most of the A-star papers, they definitely cover experimental research. So there is one Journal of Consumer Research. Again, it's an A-star paper. There you regularly find that one or two papers will be based on experiments. So definitely read papers and start tracking those papers, how the idea has built, and how the experiment is planned. It will really address you in doing a wonderful research. Yeah, okay. So let's proceed. So let me ask a question to all of you. The floor is open. What are experiments? Hello. The floor is open. There is no wrong answer. What are experiments? Come on. Mansi, Sunanjita, Dr. Sunita, then Nikhil. I'm not able to see because I'm using Google Meet. It's a free source. So you can discuss. I'm not able to see any one of you. I just remember your name. Come on. What are experiments? Mansi, come on. Yeah. Okay. Sushil, what are experiments? Hello. Am I audible?
So we have certain controlled environment and keeping other factors consistent. We only change certain conditions and to see the cause and effect relationship, maybe.
Wonderful, wonderful. What's your name, ma'am?
Dr. Mansi.
Dr. Mansi. Okay, so Dr. Mansi says, let's listen, let's guide. Mansi says, so experiment is, hope you're able to see my screen, Mansi.
Yes,
Yes?
sir.
Okay, so Mansi says experiment is something which is done in a controlled environment. Okay? Yes, and
Yes.
next,
To
So,
study the cause
uh,
and effect relationship.
wonderful. So you study the cause and effect relationship. Wonderful. Anything else, Dr. Mansi?
So we need to have certain constants also, I
Okay,
think.
so there are controls, or let's say there are constant variables across groups. Yes, okay, okay. Anybody else? Mansi, bang on target. Excellent. Keep it
Thank
so
up.
you,
I
sir.
think
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think she's covered quite a bit, but Anikhil here. So I will only say basically experiments are the most robust way to establish causality.
okay,
And therefore, like she says, finally, there is actually a variable which you are manipulating, or
okay,
basically, there is a treatment or an intervention. And what you want to do is controlling for some extraneous variables which you don't
okay,
want to study. You're basically seeing that can I prove that it is this intervention or this treatment which is leading to the impact?
okay. So
And so
manipulation of
you, like
variable.
you said, you
Okay,
manipulation, and to that
yes, yes.
extent, you will have control group or active wait list or whatever groups, so
Okay,
that you
okay,
see that it is just that manipulating variable or treatment alone is making the difference, and
okay.
then you can with confidence say yes, this is
Wonderful, wonderful.
the
Nikhil,
impact
Nikhil, by
because
the
of it.
way, Nikhil, by the way, is a trained experimenter. So you can expect
नहीं नहीं
wonderful
sir,
answer.
ऐसा नहीं.
Okay. Yeah. Next. Anybody else? There is no wrong answer. Please come with whatever answers you have, and let's have a dialogue. And let's not be obsessed with certificates. Let's not be obsessed with let's say our concern is to learn. Yeah. Okay. Anybody? Anything else?
Good evening, sir. Ayushi here. I would just like to add that an experiment involves independent and dependent variables also,
Excellent.
which
Very
is a very
good.
important part of
Okay.
designing an experiment.
So
That's it. Thank you.
wonderful. Uh, your name is
Ayushi.
Ayushi Singh. Yeah. So Ayushi has talked about independent variables and dependent variables. By the way, independent variables. When I say IV, they are your factors. They are your factors. Yes. It might have levels, and there are dependent variable which is also known as your response variable. Very good, Ayushi. Keep it up. Yeah. So you're fair enough, yeah. Most of you know research. Very good. Keep it up. Yes. Anybody else? Let's hear from Hardeep. Hardeep is there in the class. Sushil Kumar is there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, it is like exploring new idea by testing some by testing some variables in a control environment.
Okay. Control environment. Yeah. Control environment. New idea. Definitely. You definitely test out a new idea. Yes. Anything else? Anybody else? Something new? Something or something out of the blues. Something very different. Yeah. Okay. Enough. This only this much is experiment. By the way, let me add. Good experiments. They start with this research questions. Research questions. And let me ask a question to all of you. Do you think experiments See, there are instances where experimental data can't be generated. Let's say if you want to assess the impact of tobacco causing cancer, or tobacco, we all know this, uh, untested, we have not tested it, but based on empirical evidence we say that chewing tobaccos causes cancer, or regularly consuming Complan or Bonvita or for that matter Horlicks, it causes the height to increase. We normally hear all such things. We have not tested it, we have simply believed it. People are saying it, so we are believing it. So we are doing all this what is known as deductive reasoning. So every research starts with a research question, and so with experimental research. If I can put in a very simple way, by the way, whatever you have said correct, and let me discuss this in detail for each one of you, because some of you will be definitely taking up experimental research in your journal or in your thesis writing. Just bear this in mind that whenever you do experiments, actually you're doing a quantitative study. Please remember this in mind. Now, what is a quantitative study? A quantitative study believes that there is one reality and you are trying to capture that reality through numbers. And in quantitative research, you always find the idea of hypothesis. Now, when you say hypothesis is nothing but the relationship between two variables. Yes? Okay? So that is important. Okay. And now when I say qualitative research, in qualitative research, the reality is different to different person. In quantitative research, the researcher believes that there is one reality and is going to capture it through numbers. But in qualitative research, reality is different to different person. So a person will interview 15-20 different people so long as data saturation happens, and then he will come out with one theory. So that's how essentially the divide between qualitative and quantitative research is. But when you are doing experiments, please bear this in mind. This is a quantitative research. Because there would be certain variables that you will be measuring, and then you will be testing their causality. Yeah, okay. Now let me take all the points that you have mentioned. In fact, you have covered some interesting points. So experiments happens in a control environment. Now, how do you control an environment, particularly in social sciences? In physical science, you can lock the door, or you can have a test tube, you can put the sulfuric acid, you can bring sulfur, you can add whatever you want. There things can be controlled. But in social science, establishing or having an environment which is highly controlled, it's a very tall claim to make. You can't control everything. And by the way, whenever you're doing experiments in social science, what is going on in people's head, or how a person's behavior is influenced, it's not that easy. But yes, experiments in social science happen in a control environment. You can create control. You can create an environment where things are regulated. Yes, you create an environment where things are regulated. Now, please remember, I think we should talk about here in detail that whenever you're doing experiments, you actually create two groups. Please bear this in mind. You are creating two groups, or rather, you are dividing your sample in two different groups. Yes. So let's say this is my group 1. And this is my control group. When I say control group, it means here I will not bring the intervention. The environment will be as stable as possible. And let's say group 2, this is my experimental group. Yes. And here I am going to bring an intervention. Here I am going to bring one intervention. Now this intervention could be anything. Here in this group 2, I am going to bring an intervention and assess the impact of intervention on group 2. So group 1, which is a control group, here things will be constant. Things will be kept constant. But in group 2, which is my experimental group, or which is also known as treatment group. In papers, you come across these terms, experimental group or treatment group. Here you bring the intervention and test the impact of that intervention on the experimental group. And if you find that there is a difference, then you say, yes, the intervening variable has an impact. This is how you test your hypothesis. So definitely, in social science also, you can create a control environment Now here you have to design your experiment systematically so that you establish the control. Okay. Second, now see, now please bear this in mind that whenever you do a cross-sectional study, there you can never say that A impacts B. Read papers where people have collected data from all the variables at one point in time. There people never say that A or construct A impacts construct B. If you say this will be a stupid logic. People simply say that two variables are positively or negatively correlated with each other. That's it. Because you can measure causality when actually you have created that impact. So causality, or for that matter, cause and effect relationship, I think two of the research scholars mentioned here, causality and cause and effect relationship is tested in experimental design and also in longitudinal study. So if you're doing a longitudinal study, or if you're doing an experimental study, there you can say yes, cause and effect relationship exists between the two variables. So if you can manipulate the cause, the effect can be also be accordingly it will change. Accordingly it will change. Yes, okay. So by that virtue, experiment helps to establish causality. Yes, definitely there are controls in the experiments. There are certain variables which needs to be kept constant. By the way, these extraneous variables and confounding variables, you do your best, you plan your experiment systematically, but there will be certain variable unknowingly it will be impacting the treatment group. And if that unknown variable which is unknown to you, if it is impacting the treatment group, then in that case your intervention will be diluted. So that's why in design of experiments, the planning of experiment is something very important, and screening of factors, that which factors to use as an intervening variable or as a treatment variable, is something which is very, very important in experimental design. So we'll discuss how to screen out factors and all those things. We'll definitely discuss about it. So Nikhil said manipulation of variables. Definitely you are manipulating variable. In group 1, which is a constant group, group 1 it's a constant group, here you are not manipulating anything. In group 2, definitely you are manipulating the variable. You are either increasing the level of the variable or decreasing the level of the variable, and you are definitely manipulating it, and you are checking the impact of that manipulation. Very important. I said experimental research is a quantitative research. So there you have IV and DV. There you have IV and DV. So there are independent variables which are known as factors, and normally factors are categorical. Please remember this in mind, that whenever you do experiments, your factors are categorical. So and your dependent variable, which is your response variable, that is basically a metric variable, but it can also be a categorical variable. So in experimental design, you definitely see variables, independent variable and the dependent variable. Now there are so many names for all these variables. Please don't get confused whenever you read papers. Just a second. Okay, just a second. Just a second. So now when you talk about independent variables, they are also known as factors. Yes, and then they're known by different names, or they're known as predictors, etc., etc. There are so many names, you can find it. And when you talk about DV, they are known as your response variables. Yes. By the way, this your independent variables, they are also your treatment variables. They are also your treatment variables. They are also your control variables. Okay, they are also your control variables. Just a second. I want to just increase this up. It's not, sometimes this gets angry with me. Yeah, okay. Okay. Now, so there are various settings you can plan your experiments, manipulating the IV and then checking the impact of that manipulated IV on your dependent variable. Yes. So these are something about experiments, and I think everybody has given the correct answer. So nobody is wrong here. So let me come to my slide. Yeah. Okay. Just a second. This is my PC is slightly annoyed with me today. So I was on this slide. Okay, so let me, yeah, okay. So experiments, fair enough. It's a decent answer that all of you gave it to me. Okay, what is this, by the way? Anybody? Hello.
It says laxative, no?
So it's a medicine, Dulcoflex. So on a very lighter note, people who suffer from constipation problem, they have this Dulcoflex. Yes. Now Dulcoflex, it's a very popular medicine, and it's very good for stomach and digestion and all. It's very good, but you should take it as per the prescription of the doctor. Yes. So if you take 2 pills, definitely your stomach will be completely clean and no constipation problem. So now let's say this is an intervention. What I'm trying to say, this is a treatment. So all your treatments are your independent variables, and you manipulate your independent variables and assess its impact on the dependent variable. So Dulcoflex is a treatment. So you can have a 2 group, give one group Dulcoflex and other group don't give anything and see the impact. It's a common sense, a stupid example, but this is how treatment is planned. Yeah, okay. So let's come to experiments and let's focus on the couple of points which are of important. First, so experiments. What are experiments? It allows researchers to make predictions. Yes, whenever you have an experiment, you can make predictions about how changes in one thing will cause a change in something else. So when you are trying to understand the change in one variable and its impact on the other variable, that is essentially the hypothesis testing. That is essentially your hypothesis testing. Okay. Second, now when you talk about your independent variables, which also happen to be your treatment variable, so IVs are usually categorical. IVs are usually categorical. Presence of certain things or absence of certain things. Or let's say something which is in high quantity and something which is in low quantity. And it is this IV that you manipulate. I think everybody discuss about it. So let's discuss this also in detail, because whenever you are planning your experiments, you have to see that what is the IV, how is that IV measured, and how you are going to use that IV as a treatment. And if you're using IV as a treatment, the most important thing is that how are you going to measure that IV, particularly in social science. Tomorrow we'll definitely see lot many IVs which are brought by the researcher knowingly, and its impact is assessed on the variable of interest. So now whenever you are doing an experiment, actually you create an experimental conditions. So number of IVs decides the number of experimental conditions. So even if you don't understand, just relax. Even if it is repetitive, just relax. Just flow with the flow. So when only one IV is present, each level makes up one experimental condition. So let's say there is only one IV, so there is only one experimental condition. But more complex designs may include 2 or more independent variables. See, if you read all the standard papers which are reported in A star or for that matter A category paper, there you'll find that in most of the papers, the researcher has manipulated only one independent variable. Because if you try to bring 2 independent variables, it slightly becomes complex to assess the impact of 2 independent variables on the dependent variable. So that's why even in standard papers, you'll find that there is one independent variable and which is being manipulated at different levels. Yes, because if you bring one more independent variable, let's say you bring 2 independent variables in one condition, then these 2 variables are going to impact the dependent variable, but also there will be an interaction between the 2 independent variables. So people who use SEM or people who understand regression, that whenever you bring 2 independent variables, so definitely there will be an interaction between the 2 independent variables. So one, there will be a main effect of 2 independent variables, and next there will be a interaction effect. So definitely in coming times I'll write the equation and show you how to segregate the main effect and how to segregate the interaction effect. That we'll definitely be discussing it. But it's important that whenever you do research in social science, see that what independent variable you want to manipulate, and how are you going to measure it, and preferably it is advisable to not make your experimental design so complex, because not many issues would crop up. Again, I'm saying that whenever you design an experiment, please read the standard literature, that how experiments are being planned. Nothing wrong in having 2 independent variable, nothing wrong in having 3 independent variable, but if you bring more number of variables in your experimental design, then in that case it will be very difficult for you to segregate the effect of one particular variable in the overall dependent variable. But of course, regression is a technique where definitely you can control all the variables and you can check the effect of one variable on the dependent variable. Regression is a very standard technique in isolating the effect of one variable on the dependent variable. Regression is a fantastic tool. It's a sophisticated tool. So we'll focus on that. Let me go through a couple of slides. I'll write equations and I'll put things into perspective. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, in the perfect experiment, all other variables should be controlled, so that only one thing changing across the different condition is the IV. Now, just focus on this whiteboard. Yeah, okay. Now, let's say, let me give a very simple example. Let me give a very simple example. Just a second. Let's talk about control variable. Yeah, let's say we all know this. We have been seeing this advertisements. By the way, Patanjali is in news and they are saying sorry to the Supreme Court. So since our childhood days, now these ads don't come up because there are not many issues. So Complan causes, if you, for children at least, there was a claim when we were kids. Actually, I'm a kid of 80s and seen those 90s glory days, Doordarshan days, and now we are seeing this on cable televisions and satellite TV, whatnot. So Complan ad used to come. So if you regularly mix Complan in your milk and if you gulp it, so your height will increase. So now just think, if you have to make an equation, let's say if your height is your dependent variable and if you are making an equation, so height is a product of Complan plus some error term. Now this error term, it's a very huge term. This is a very huge term. Now, if somebody says Complan causes somebody's height to increase, it's a very tall claim. Somebody will take objection, no. So let's say person is taking Complan also, person is taking food also, person is taking fruit also. What about DNA? What about genes? Yes, so let's say somebody would say, no, this is a stupid argument. In fact, I'll tell you, in quantitative research, whenever you create your models, there is always an issue of endogeneity. Now, what is endogeneity? When I say endogeneity is that variable which is missing from your model. Now it happens, see, I have done research and I have done a lot many stupidity in my research. So we build model, then we test it, then we realize, okay, this model is tested, data is collected, and now some variable which is very important, it is not there in your model. So let's say a variable which is very important, if it is not there in your model, then it is going to create endogeneity issue. Yes. So now somebody would challenge this equation, say ये equation गलत है. Means height खाली Complan से नहीं बढ़ता है. If you want to write an equation about height, so you have to factor multiple independent variables. Okay, you take, let's say, gene of that particular child, DNA and all. Yes, you see other foods that is consuming. You see his income level. People who are from rich families, they can consume one best of the foods and they will consume a lot of protein, and the wear and tear in their body will be far superior than people who are from middle income background. So gene, food, income, then Complan will cause a very little variance. Complan तो बहुत ज्यादा variance explain नहीं करेगा DV के अंदर, और ये सब होने के बाद भी कुछ ना कुछ तो error रह जाएगा. So see, it's not that easy, particularly in social science, to say that, let's say, let me bring this intervention and check its impact on the DV. It's easier said than done. Yeah, okay, because there will always be an issue of endogeneity. Now, please remember, endogeneity is because of missing variables, is because of your missing variables in your study. If certain variables are missing from your study, then it is going to create endogeneity. Now, it is up to you that do a thorough literature review and screen out those factors which are very important in your dependent variable. Very important in your dependent variable. By the way, I request all of you to read that psychological competency paper where quasi experiment has been done in a classroom setting. Please read that paper, and that's a quasi experiment. People don't call it a full experiments. See, knowingly and unknowingly, lot of interventions take place at workplace in the life of students. Knowingly and unknowingly, lot of intervention take place in our lives also. But it's very difficult to segregate one variable and say this variable is causing the impact on the dependent variable. I think it's a very tall claim to make. So this line which you see, the fourth stanza, it talks about in perfect experiment, all other variables should be controlled. But it's difficult to control all the variables. So that only thing changing across the different condition is the IV. So try to bring as many controls as possible and see the effect of IV on the DV. So tomorrow we'll see one paper, that green self-image. You'll see that lot many controls are used in that paper before the planning of the experiments. So whenever you plan your experiments, it's always important that measure the personality trait of a person, then measure other variables which are of importance, and then in your regression model accordingly you bring it. Then things will become pretty easy for you. Okay?
So just one quick question, if I can ask.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So that means that when you there are two ways we can control. One is, I'm just taking the same example of Complan. One is that you take people from the same income group, etc., in your experiment itself.
Yeah.
Another is, if that is not possible for some reason, like in case of genetics or anything, then statistically, as covariates, maybe we will have to control it later to eliminate its effect and say that we don't want to study it. Is that understanding right?
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. In fact, yes, if you want to eliminate that, you can definitely have your sample where you take people from a particular income bracket and see that they have consumed Complan over the period of time. By the way, Nikhil, to answer you, I'm sure Nikhil has asked that question. There is one book, and the name of that book is Naked Statistics by Charles Whelan. There is a book which is Naked Statistics by Charles Whelan. See, experimental design can't be planned. Experimental design cannot be planned for every kind of research. Please bear this in mind. There are certain research where you can't have an experiment because you can't manipulate the variable. So when you can't manipulate the variable, you definitely can't have an experimental designs. Now, if you read this book, Naked Statistics, I think what Nikhil is saying, it's if you read this book, the line of argument is similar, that you can't have a control group and a treatment group, and you tell the treatment group to smoke and the control group not to smoke, and then you check whether smoking causes cancer or not. So definitely there are statistical methods that you can take care of covariates, definitely, but it is advisable identify which are the covariates in the design stage itself. Do a thorough literature review, or based on your observations, based on your analysis, based on your logic, please understand which are the covariates which can potentially influence the dependent variable, and measure those covariates in the design stage. Then you can bring them as covariates and control them and check its impact, or maybe whatever the effect is. That you can definitely do it. So precisely what Nikhil is saying is 100% correct. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? हेलो आर वी ऑन द सेम पेज? हम साथ हैं, दिल चाहता है एक्सपेरिमेंट रिसर्च पढ़ने का, जब तक है जान तब तक एक्सपेरिमेंट रिसर्च पढ़ेंगे, कुछ होता है एक्सपेरिमेंट पढ़ते समय. बाय द वे हम आपके हैं कौन लास्ट में बोलने का है ना? या ओके, ठीक है. यस, ओके. आई होप यू आर एंजॉयिंग इट, and this is a wonderful research. Please read as many papers on experiments and you will be on your own toes. Nobody is going to tell you these secrets, that Dronacharya secret. What is Dronacharya secret? Read good quality papers. Follow what they have written it. I'll tell you one interesting fact. Of late, you see, I follow a lot many people on LinkedIn, and I sometimes I get amazed that every month they have 2 or 3 A category papers or A-star paper. I said, are they superhumans? They publish 3 papers A-star in 1 month. I get surprised. Due respect to them, I'm not demeaning them, I'm not degrading them, but somewhere these people are very genius, and they're doing wonderful thing. So I was trying to say something, I just forgot it. Yeah, okay, maybe if I remember I'll tell you later on. I just forgot it. So many things are flowing in my mind. Yeah, okay. I was saying that, yeah, now this I'll suggest to new scholars, nothing wrong about it. I just forgot and I remembered it, that there are people who create a replica of a paper. So let's say there is one paper. Yes, so people exactly create a replica of that paper, use the same method and create a replica of that paper, and not publish in that journal but some other journal. I'm not saying this is unethical, I'm not saying this is wrong, but there is one method also to publish by towing the line what standard papers are doing it, and then do the similar analysis, make a similar write-up, come out with a similar argument and say not much research is done, and then publish that paper in some other journal. So that is also happening. People create replica of a paper. Nothing wrong in it, but whatever, even if you create a replica, try to be as honest as possible, and try to have your own understanding. Now please remember this in your mind, which most of the senior statisticians have taught me, that whenever you design an experiment, always think that what could be the potential outcome. Let's say when you are designing experiments, you are bringing an intervention in the experimental group. Now think that if I bring this treatment in the experimental condition, what could be the potential impact? Always have a guess even before you have collected the data, or even before you have analyzed the data. And let's say if your guess is supported, then your alternative hypothesis is accepted. But if your guess goes haywire, then it means hypothesis is rejected. So always have a guess कि अगर मैंने ये intervention लाया, or if I bring this intervention, what would be the potential impact on the DV? Always have a wild guess, and see when you analyze the data, your guess is being supported or not, or you are finding evidence in support of your alternative hypothesis or not. Yeah, okay, have this in mind. So now there is an important thing that you need to consider. So there are numerous ways in which researchers can unintentionally introduce bias into the experiment. Inconsistent delivery of instructions, experimenter affect the physical environment, etc. See, you might think that you have planned a systematic experiment, but biases can result because of your presence also. We had an interesting debate couple of years back. So there was one researcher, very senior researcher, now she is a professor at IIT Delhi. She said that when I was doing research, I was part of that. When I was collecting data through experimental research, I was part of the experiment. So we said if experimenter is part of the data collection process, then the presence of the experimenter might act as a confounding variable, and which will distort the impact of the treatment on the response variable. So we had an argument. So there are two schools of thought. Please bear this in mind. Again, this school of thought was followed. One of our professors is in Australia. So see, now there are two schools of thought. Either you be present as an experimenter, or you completely be out of that experiment, outsource it. Let somebody else collect the data. If you are an experimenter, you don't be part of that experiment. This is one school of thought. And there is other school of thought, as an experimenter you be there. Now in India, lot many experimenters, particularly who are at research scholar stage, as an experimenter they are part of the research. Now somebody might question that you being an experimenter, why you were there at the spot of the experiment? Now your presence would act as a extraneous variable or as a confounder. Now in foreign countries, if you focus the experiment by Bandura, which is a classic experiment which we are going to discuss tomorrow, Albert Bandura was not part of the experiment. Yes, he was not part of the experiment. He was not part of the data collection. He designed the experiment, that how the experiment will go about it, but he was not present. He appointed somebody else, and that person collected every data on behalf of the research. So there are two schools of thought. Let's not argue this. Both the schools of thought are okay. Nothing wrong being at the data point as an experimenter, and nothing wrong dissociating yourself from the place where experiment is being conducted. I said again, experiment can be conducted in your classroom. Yes, I'll tell you one interesting topic, and I'm thinking in this line, maybe in times to come I'll definitely conduct one experiment which I will be doing it. You see, NCERT and I think AICT, somebody, they're talking about open book test, and there are not much research which is done about open book test. Now open book test, people say it's very good, it should be planned, where if you have an open book test, people will learn things conceptually in classroom. They will not rote learn it, and they will have lot many memories in their brain which will be free, and they can be more innovative, they can be more creative, and they can be more imaginative. So let's have an open book test. Let's not burden students with not many concepts and jargons, and let's have an open book test. Let them read and let them write and let they produce. Now, is open book test a good option? Now you can have an experiment, let's say in a class of 60 students. Yes, 30 will take a test which is a normal test, memory based test, and 30 students will take a test which is open book test. and then compare their GPAs, who is faring well, and then say that who has done well. Yeah, definitely. But these experiment, open book test or a memory based test, if you're comparing the two tests between two groups of students, again, lot many things are concerned. Practical papers, theory papers, and grading system, question paper setting. There are so many issues that crop up. If you can address all these issues and if you can plan a systematic experiment, you will do a wonderful work, and maybe one of your papers can be published in Indian Journal of Management Education. Just think in this line. I'm thinking in this line. Maybe you might have wonderful ideas. So one of my friend is working on this idea whether robots, if robots come in the hotel industry, so the presence of robot, how does it create customer delight, and so many other marketing stuff they are assessing. So they are having a two groups, one robot is there and other humans are there, so comparing robot with humans and which one is better, again they are thinking in this line. So maybe you can think that कैसे compare कर सकते हैं और कैसे हम लोग बता सकते हैं कि yes, experimental group is on a better side and control group is not on the better side, or both are on at par. You can think of that. So please bear this in mind that there are a lot of biases which are sets in experiments, and as a researcher you need to eliminate this bias. Okay, please bear this in mind. Now,
Professor Arun, just a quick question, if I may.
go ahead, yes.
So the thing is that in social science, sometimes we use self-report tools. And if the researcher himself or herself is present, then you may directly, indirectly influence. But the other point also I see is that if you tell them the intention of the experiment, or they know which are the DVs, then people are also likely to give you the socially desirable answer. You have given me this, now my resilience I will report higher. Yeah. So in such cases they use a cover story or something. So what is kind of your view on that? That it is required, it is not required? Should you tell them what's the objective and to what extent?
See, first of all, there has to be an element of surprise and suspicion. Element of surprise. You can't have an open book policy when you are conducting experiments. Something you have to camouflage, and it's least that you talk about open book test, or it's least you talk about your dependent variable. Now, taking example of open book test and the primary interest is, let's say, whether a CGPA increases or not, or CGPA increases or not. So CGPA is your dependent variable. Now,
sir, just a quick question. Before we go into the nitty-gritty of the experiment, when we decide about the open book test, when we decide about the control groups and the experimental group in this particular environment, then the people who are taking the traditional memory-based test would be the control group, and people who are preparing for open book would be the experimental group.
Yes,
is that
exactly? And again, you have to have a lot of randomization. You are correct. What you're saying is correct. And coming to Nikhil's question, self-report questions are there, but Nikhil, my understanding says that whenever you're going for self-report questions, talk least about your dependent variable, which is your primary interest, and simply give them a survey. Just tell them to take it, give the instruction whatever is required, or you can be present, you can't be present. That depends upon you, because there is a good school of thought which says that experimenters should not be there, and there are in India experimenters are there on the spot. But try to see, what I'm trying to say is that the biases which comes because of the experimenter should not be there. Secondly, self-report measures, nothing harm in having a self-report measure, because even if you go for self-report measure, there are statistical tests available. You'll get to know whether this people have answered reliably or not, or the validity issues are there. All those can be tested, Nikhil. To answer you, you have to take a call, but it can be tested, and nothing wrong with going for self-report measures. Nothing wrong with it.
Okay. Thank you.
And anybody else? Okay, can anybody tell me what is the number? How many people are there? Let me check on WhatsApp group. Everybody has joined, or maybe
13 have joined.
The 13 have joined.
And also invited has some 6 people still. So maybe 6 have not joined.
So how many people are there?
13.
Okay, 13 people have registered, so 13 people are there. Only 13 people. I think 14 people have registered. Okay, one is traveling. Yeah, good. The number is good. Huh? First day numbers will high. Last day you'll find numbers will go. Okay.
Only thing is 13 has two of your IDs, so you can say 11.
Okay. I'm not
Yeah,
able to see. This is a Google Meet and I'm recording through OBS Studio.
no
Okay.
problem.
Now, please bear this in mind. Please bear this in mind that there are three problems that confront the investigator. Whenever you are doing an experimental research, there are three problems. One is complexity, experimental error, and the difference between correlation and causation. We'll take one by one. So whenever you're doing experiments, there are three problems that you might face: complexity, error, and you might not differentiate between correlation and causation. By the way, Indians are very good in analysis. Huh? Let me tell you, Indians are very good in analysis, very poor in theory development. Forgive me if I made a tall claim. I have heard from seasoned professors, they बोलते इंडियन लोग को डेटा दे दो ना, डेटा डेटा तो ऐसे एनालाइज कर देंगे ना, फॉरेनर्स लोग हैरान हो जाते हैं. इतना अच्छा डेटा एनालाइज करते हैं इंडियन लोग. But when it comes to understanding what goes before data analysis, something very important. देखो, to learn SEM, to learn PLS, SEM, multi-level modeling कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. But उसके पहले what goes before data collection or what goes before statistics is very important. So I'm sure that nobody has a problem with correlation and causation, but yes, complexity and experimental error, let's focus on it. What is complexity? Now, here I'm giving an example from agricultural perspective, and this example is borrowed from GP Box book. That book is there, no, GP Box 2005. Read that book, interesting book. So this example I borrowed from that book. Let me add a disclaimer. So let's say in experimentation for process improvement. Now experiment happens in industrial setting also. So let's say for process improvement and discovery, it is usually necessary to consider simultaneously the influence of a number of input variables such as temperature, feed rate, concentration, and catalyst on a collection of outputs such as yield, impurity, and cost. Now, see, let's say think from a regression perspective. What is regression? Regression is nothing but there is one dependent variable and there is one independent variable. Assume your dependent variable to be metric, not binary. मैं logistic regression की बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ. Assume your dependent variable to be metric, and let's say you have 3-4 independent variables. But you see, again, there are multiple independent variables which impact your DV, and your multiple independent variables not only impact your DV but some other dependent variables. So experimentation में क्या होता है कि इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल को चूज करने में थोड़ी सी डिफिकल्टी हो जाती है, बट सोशल साइंस में ऐसा नहीं है. सोशल साइंस में सी यू कैन टेक अ लिबर्टी. अगेन आई एम सेइंग लेट्स सिंप्लीफाई मैटर्स. आई एम नॉट हियर टू कॉम्प्लिकेट थिंग्स. इन सोशल साइंस में take one independent variable, assess its impact one at a time. Take one independent variable, let it be a categorical variable, yes, and assess its impact on the DV. That's it. But there are multiple things that impact your DV that should be used as controls. So please read this paper, Transmission of Aggression. वो 1961 का सेमिनल पेपर है, बहुत सेमिनल पेपर. उस समय स्टैटिस्टिक्स इतना एडवांस नहीं था. वो पूरे पेपर के अंदर नॉन पैरामेट्रिक टेस्ट यूज किया गया है. यस, और उस पेपर के अंदर देखो एल्बर्ट बेंडूरा, रॉस एंड रॉस ने see how intelligently they have identified every variable that might impact social learning of kids, and they have measured it and they have controlled it. So see, complexity is with respect to identifying of independent variable and understanding that what variables other than independent variable which are influencing my DV. I think we did talk about it. I'm not going to go in length. Tomorrow when we see the case study, it will make a lot of sense to you. So with K factors and P response, there are K into P entities to consider. So let's say you have 5 factors and you have, let's say there are 30 responses. So 5 into 30, there are 150 experimental runs that you need to perform. Means जितना factor बढ़ेगा और response बढ़ेगा उतना complexity बढ़ सकता है. This is what it is trying to say. But ये सब manage हो जाता है, not a big deal. Don't get lost in the academic argument. Read the paper, you'll find that most of the complexity is addressed. What is experimental error? Yes, so uncontrolled variables. So variability not explained by known influences is called experimental error. Experimental error माने there were certain variables which were influencing your DV and you didn't measure it. And these experimental errors are not because of measurements, they are because of some other reasons. Now to address the experimental error, you need to have a standard technique which you should apply for control group and which we should apply for experimental group. I think Nikhil was asking कि experimenter को होना चाहिए कि नहीं होना चाहिए. हो भी सकता है, नहीं भी हो सकता है, but instruction clear दो, that's it. कंट्रोल ग्रुप में और एक्सपेरिमेंटल ग्रुप में इंस्ट्रक्शन को एकदम टाइम से दो, प्रॉपर दो और एक जैसा रखो तो एरर मिनिमाइज हो जाता है. Correlation confused with causation. Let me talk about it. By the way, most of you are research scholars, faculty members. There is one book, Business Statistics by Jagia Kelly. You should read this book. Let me write this book. Business Statistics. All IIM's MBA student, they read this book by Jagia and Kelly. Jagia and Kelly. Get this book and read it. It will be good for you. Now, if you read Business Statistics book by Jagia and Kelly, they talk about correlation and causation. They talk about this. Now, what they say, they give example of this, of a city called Oldenburg. So there is one city called Oldenburg. It is somewhere there in Europe. I don't know where it is. Don't ask me the name of the city. So in that city, it was seen that the population and the population of the stock, they had a direct relationship. So this is the graph. See, as the population of stock increases, so the population increases. So means population was increasing, the stock population, stock is a bird. So as the population of stock increases, the population in the city also increases. So does it mean that rise in the number of stock causes people to produce more children? People to produce or to give birth to more children? Please correct me for the grammar if it is mistake. If the population of stock increases, does that mean the population of stock is causing the population to increase? Now such relationship is known as spurious correlation.
Spurious correlation.
It's known as spurious correlation. Sometimes you might feel that the dependent variable is increasing with the increase in independent variable, and you are thinking that independent variable is causing the dependent variable to increase, but ideally it might not be so. So that's why you need to be very particular that what is causing what. Correlation can be because of chance. You can take any two numbers and understand their correlation, something or the other will come out. Some relationship will work out. Plus, minus, negative, zero, something will work out. But causation is not by chance. See, correlation can be by chance. So if correlation is by chance, that is a spurious correlation. So that's why GEP box, classic book, they say that please don't confuse correlation with causation. By the way, regression. In regression, you try to understand the influence of the independent variable or variables on the dependent variable. Correlation tests association, regression tests influence. That's the difference between two statistics. Both are given by Carl Pearson. Both are given by Carl Pearson. Read this book, Lady Testing Tea. You will get to read the fight between Carl Pearson and R.A. Fisher. Yes, and R.A. Fisher won the race. He became father of statistics. By the way, everywhere you can see R. R is such a reported value. Even people who are publishing papers in top-notch journals, they rely on R. They might not use F-test, Fisher's test, but they use R. But Carl Pearson missed the bus and R.A. Fisher became the father of statistics. And both were contemporaries and both were enemies. Academic enemies. In academics, there is different sort of enemy. Okay. Yeah. So, go ahead. Yeah. Okay. So, we'll discuss for 2 minutes. We'll take a 15 minutes break. Then again, we'll be back. Okay. So, what is the criteria for true experiments? Anybody? Any guesses? Mansi, Sunanchita, my friend Dr. Sunita, Sunil Kumar, Nikhil, my friend. What is the criteria for two experiments? Hello? Hello? Hello?
So there should not be any researcher bias.
Okay, very good. What's your name?
Dr. Mansi here.
Dr. Mansi Gupta. Yeah, Mansi, there should not be researcher bias. But Mansi, how can researcher bias set in?
Sir, like Nikhil ji rightly pointed, if the researcher is present, he might influence the experiment, the psychology of the respondents somehow, because he wants the results of his experiment to be favorable.
Yeah. Okay, that could be one factor. So there should not be
Sir,
any okay. Experimenter bias nahi hona chahiye. Very good. Anything else, Mansi, that you think of that which falls under
So,
the criteria?
So the control environment should be identical for everybody who's under the experiment.
Very good, Mansi. Very good. So both the group conditions similar होना चाहिए. Control group and experimental group
Sir,
condition should be similar.
we
Experimental condition should be similar, and then bring the intervention. Very good, Mansi. Anything else, Mansi?
we can repeat the experiment.
We can repeat
exactly.
the or replicability of the experiment. Very good,
Yes.
replicability. Like, first time I did the experiment, this was the result. Second time I did the experiment, but different result. People will not believe the
and
experiment.
not just replication by you. If that protocol is followed by someone else, then they are also able to see impact of similar magnitude.
So if you, I'll tell you. Is it Nikhil?
Yeah.
Okay. Nikhil, there was one favorite experiment. Oh my goodness, light went. Just a second.